Alita Hunter Productions Publishing. Book Club Recommendations and Excerpt Reading. An agenda will be a brief welcome from me, a platform description about the day's discussion. I will present the book title. I will talk about the book's genre. I will give a little bit about the book as a book description. I will do an excerpt reading, and I will do a summary Q&A wrap up. Welcome to Belita Hunter Productions Publishing. My name is Tanya Hunter. I'm the one facilitating this learning today, as well as the one reading the excerpt. I hope that you enjoy this presentation. Thank you. I routinely make book recommendations for a reading. I always like to recommend the books that I've written for you to read. However, I often do other books as well. But for this platform today, it will be a book that I have written. I will do an excerpt reading from the book. I will give you the title and description for that book, as well as your options for purchasing the book if you care to do so. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy. Today's book recommendation is entitled My Right to Choose, written by Tanya Hunter. This book is a work of fiction. It is strictly the author's imagination. Thank you. This book is a book of fiction. It is based on a young woman's right to make decisions about her life. Life sometimes presents us with choices every day. Some of those choices seems more important than other choices, but all choices are equally as important. The seemingly small choices can end up ruining your entire life or your entire relationship. So being able to make your own decisions, some of them may be tough, is a right. Some of them may be agonizing, but it's your choice. It is your choice to choose nonetheless. It was the first time she'd ever seen her doctor's face with anything other than a pleasant smile. He told her that he was tired of her determination to carry out an unpleasant and ungodly act. He told her that he was going to do anything and everything in his power to prevent her from doing it. Her doctor told her that he was going to call for help and keep her in his office until help arrived to take her away to a facility that could treat her and help her. She reminded her doctor that she was aware of all the facilities in the area and that she knew where to get help if she wanted it. She told him that she was not unaware of resources that could help people, for she spent years referring her patients and other people to places where they could find possible help. She reminded her doctor that he was not allowed to hold her there without her consent or permission. She reminded the doctor that all patients have the right to refuse any treatment and care. And she reminded her doctor that the relationship between the two of them was just doctor-patient. She reminded her doctor that not only does the patient have the right to refuse treatment, but she reminded him that patients are often given the opportunity to make a living will or have an advance directive in place that explains what they want done and what they do not want done. So you see, doctor, you cannot stop me. I am of sound mind, and I have made my wishes known. She told him that there was nothing that he could do to stop her from carrying out her rights. She told him that he should be happy that at least she decided to carry the baby to term. She reminded him that she was not obligated to give birth again and that if he kept pissing her off, she would end the pregnancy right then and there. Her doctor looked at her and told her that now he can detain her without her permission because she has threatened bodily harm to herself and to the unborn child. Her doctor said that with a smile on his face because he thought that he had made progress in the right direction and that his actions were going to result in her changing her mind. He was wrong. She became more determined than ever. She told her doctor that she would go through with the treatment center and was going to go ahead with the abortion as soon as she was released from the treatment facility. That smile on her doctor's face will soon return to the sad previous look. She told him that she would like for him to leave the room so she could call her life partner to let him know that she was not coming home and that she would be going to be spending a few days at the facility. Her doctor left the room and left the door cracked. He had a feeling that she was not going to tell her partner the truth. He left the door open so he could hear the conversation, but instead what he heard was a screeching sound of the table being pushed up against the window. He rushed back in, but it was too late. All he saw was an open window, curtains blowing in the wind, but no sign of her. He did not want to accept the obvious, so he did not look out the window. He just stood there in the doorway, riddled with guilt. He felt that he had pushed her to do exactly what he was trying to prevent her from doing. He felt that he was so close to helping her that he managed to just make things worse. He stood in the doorway, afraid to go in the room. All he could think of was how terrible of a person he must have been to threaten someone who was so fragile. He thought to himself that he was so disqualified to handle a situation and he should not have attempted to do so. He began to mutter to himself as he was sobbing and apologizing to God. He heard a voice. It was her. She was asking him why was he crying. He told her that he thought she jumped out the window. She reminded him that she already told him that she was afraid of heights and that she does not like pain. He ran over to her, hugging her so tight, all the while still sobbing. He asked her to please reconsider and that he would cancel the call to the treatment clinic if she promised to at least think about waiting until after the baby was born to do anything. He was willing to say and do anything at this point to keep her and the baby alive. She agreed that if he called off the treatment center, that she would at least think about it. She was willing at this point to say anything to get him to call off the treatment clinic and to stop squeezing her so hard. But she knew in her mind that it was made up. Her doctor also felt that her mind was made up and that she was just agreeing to that so he could cancel the call to the clinic. He didn't know what to do. He knew that he could not tell anyone to watch her because that would involve telling her private information, and as her doctor, he was bound by patient privacy. He was bound by patient privacy laws not to disclose any information unless he got permission from her. He was more afraid than ever because he knew that once he let her walk out that door, that he may never see her again, not alive, that is. He felt he had to do something, but he just didn't know what to do. He turned to her and asked if she needed help getting to her car. She chuckled and said, if I was afraid that he was going to do something. She looked at him and asked, are you afraid that I'm going to run out in front of traffic? He told her that that was exactly what he was afraid of. She told him that he could relax because she was not going to do that because she is afraid of pain and that she already told him that. She said that she had already told him that she had considered running out in front of a bus but decided against that. She patted him on the shoulder and said that he is a real good doctor and that he had done his best, that he should not worry. She told him that his conscience should be clear, regardless of what the outcome, because it was not his fault. She reminded him that when a person has been contemplating something as serious as this, and as far as long as she has, the inevitable and the eventuality becomes certain. He did not know how to respond to that. He asked her to promise him that she would call him as soon as she got home. She nodded her head as she walked toward the door. The office clerk yelled to her to stop, to check out, and to pay her bill. She turned to the clerk and said, "This one should definitely be on the house." The clerk was puzzled, but she reassured the doctor that she should let her go for now and bill her later. Her doctor stood there and watched her head for the parking lot. He watched for as long as he could see her. He lost sight of her as she turned the corner. He turned to the clerk and told her to cancel his appointments for the rest of the day. He walked to his office and closed the door. Several hours passed and his phone never rang. Hello, I hope you have enjoyed that read. This is the part of the session where we have questions and answers. Question number 1. Why did you write this book? The answer is I have a vivid imagination and I like mysteries and suspense stories. So I decided to write this book. Who is this intended for? Okay, so the intended reader for this book is someone who likes mysteries, someone who likes fiction, and someone who just likes to read. Is there a digital format, audio print version of this book? This book is currently in a print version, paperback, as well as Kindle. Where can one obtain a copy of this book? One can obtain a copy of this book from Amazon. Thank you for listening to this excerpt today. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Remember to visit me on Amazon.com. Thank you.